Hey guys, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. This is the Ambitious Agent podcast where we give you bite sized pieces of information that you can use right now, right here, today. For now, we're talking about long term care and how you can stretch your dollar further because it is indeed more expensive than you think. On this episode and some of the ones to follow, we're going to talk about something that I'm tasked with often when I'm sitting in front of my clients. Many times they ask me, what exactly is a long term care service? What is long term care? And how do I know when my loved one needs long term care? And then how do I decide where they should receive that care? So let's start off by just talking about what is long-term care services? What is long-term care? So someone needs long-term care when they can't perform two or more of their activities of daily living. There's six activities of daily living. So let's talk about them. When you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, you go to the bathroom, you walk to the bathroom. That's the first activity of daily living. It's called transferring. Just walking to and from the bathroom, walking uh, to and from the kitchen. After you walk to the bathroom, then you may go to use the restroom and relieve yourself. Well, that's the activities of daily living number two. You continence. You were able to hold your bowel until you made it to the restroom to relieve yourself. After that, you go, you brush your teeth, you wash your face. Now you're engaging in hygiene. That's the third activity of daily living, which is toileting, which includes going to the restroom and then just your daily hygiene needs and taking care of yourself. After you've done that, then you proceed to maybe take a shower. That's the next activity of daily living, bathing. After you've taken your shower, you dry off, you get dressed, the fifth activity of daily living. Then you go into the kitchen, you fix yourself something, some breakfast, and you eat. And eating is the sixth activity of daily living. So when you have a loved one that, or even you yourself, I have clients that I've spoken to who need this help, and you find that you can't perform two or more of these tasks without help, you're now qualified for long term care services. Now, someone can need long term care services for various reasons. It can be due to an illness, it can be due to an injury, it can be due to cognitive issues, dementia, or even severe depression that can qualify someone for needing long term care services. So now, as we talk a little bit further, we're going to use an example of dad. And we're going to talk about dad in these next few episodes and the different phases that he's going through. And as we talk about these different phases, we're going to identify when he needs long term care services, the type of services that he needs. And then I'll suggest maybe where he can get these services taken care of. And hopefully, this can help you if you're thinking about this for yourself or one of your loved ones. So we have dad. Let's say dad had a stroke early in life, maybe in his 30s. It was a mild stroke. He did need some help at home with some of the activities of daily living while he regained use of his body. So he needed help with maybe transferring, getting from the bed to his chair, getting from his chair to the toilet. Maybe he needed help with bathing. He needed help with eating and feeding himself. And during this time, he's been engaging in his physical therapy. He's been engaging in his occupational therapy and getting his body as close as to where it used to be as he could. After a while, maybe a year or two, now he's at the point where he can live independently and he doesn't need the help of a provider to come into the home and help with these activities of daily living. So this is our first example of someone needing long-term care services. This is dad. He needed long-term care services while he recovered from his stroke. Now, he didn't need these long-term care services forever. He only needed them for a year or two. So a lot of times when folks think of long-term care, they think, oh, they this, long term, they're gonna need this care for the rest of their lives. But that's not always true. Long-term care services doesn't have to last for 10, 20, 30 years at a time. It can be 1 or 2 years that someone needs help maybe while they're recovering. So this first type of long-term care service is having a provider come into the home. Now, having a provider come into the home is not free. Medicare, that red, white, and blue card that many folks have that either have a disability or that are 65 years of age or older, does not pay to have a provider come into your home and help with care. That's something that either you're going to have to be responsible to pay for, or you may be able to use Medicaid, which is income based. It's based on income being at or below the poverty line and assets that someone may have to pay to have a provider come into the home. So let's continue with dad. So dad's fine. It's been years. He still has some mobility issues, but he's able to perform all the activities by himself of daily living and live independently. But you begin to notice as dad has gotten older, things are beginning to change. You come to the house because now you're helping him out here and there. He doesn't have the provider come in, but you notice when you help with the laundry, maybe his sheets are soiled sometimes. Or you notice maybe he has an accident on his way to the restroom. You can see where he tried to clean it up because he didn't tell you. He didn't tell you because he wants to maintain that independence. And he may be a little bit embarrassed about it too. So you're noticing he's having some problems with continence, right? He's having problems with controlling his continence, his bowel. And then you notice maybe some hygiene issues going on here. Maybe he's needing help with bathing, and every now and again you're like, "Hey, Dad, let me help you, in and out of the shower today. Maybe I can help you reach those parts you're having a hard time reaching." So you notice maybe some hygiene issues. And due to these, now Dad doesn't want to leave the house often because he's noticing that he needs help, but he's not asking for the help because he's afraid that he may lose his independence. And we find that that happens a lot with our seniors. So now he's lonely. He doesn't go out with his friends anymore, and he's beginning to get depressed. And that's causing his health to further decline. At this point, you may feel like, I don't want I want him to be able to maintain his independence, but I don't feel comfortable with him living by himself anymore. What should I do? Well, there are two options we're going to go over today that may be a good fit if you find that you have a loved one in a situation that's similar to this. An assisted living facility. Now, an assisted living facility is a residential facility. It's comprised of apartments, like an apartment complex. Some of the apartments have little kitchenettes in them. Some of them don't. For the complexes that don't have a kitchen, they usually have a main dining area, and that's the area where they serve, all the meals and the snacks, and everyone can come together and eat. At assisted living facilities, they do provide help with the activities of daily living. They provide usually medication delivery services. They usually help with taking medications if someone needs reminders, when to take their morning medications, when to take their evening medications. They have laundry service. They help with cleaning. They even help with bathing or dressing and incontinence if the person, that resident, needs that. What the assisted living facilities also provide is that opportunity for your loved ones to be able to spend time with their peers. So they have a lot of activities. One of the ones that I went to recently, they had the Houston Orchestra come out. Just so happens I was there to see somebody else, so they invited me to stay, come down and listen in, and the residents were so excited. They were all down there. They had snacks out for them, and little non-alcoholic beverages for them to drink. They were able to just have a good time amongst themselves, talking and laughing, spending time with, getting out of their apartment. They do things like they have games, they take them on outside activities, they take them to restaurants to go out to eat. They'll take them to church for those who want to go do some religious activities. They take them on outings. Sometimes I've been to one where they had a car show and they had vintage cars there. One had an Elvis impersonator. So they provide lots of activities to really help your loved one to continue to maintain their quality of life while also maintaining some independence. And maintaining that quality of life and being able to spend time with others and really feel good about it is so important, not only to our loved ones' mental health, but to their physical health as well. So a lot of times folks find that an assisted living facility is a really good space for someone when they're at that point to where they don't need full care, but they do need a little bit of help. And that's that transition before someone may need to go to a nursing home. Now, assisted living facilities, they can be pricey. We'll talk about how much they'll cost well, no, let's go ahead and get to that now. So the national average cost of an assisted living facility is about $5,000 a month. Some places it costs a little less, right? In some regions, and in some regions it's a lot more. What also dictates the cost is the amenities that are provided at the assisted living facility. I mean, they may have, I've been to some that have concierge service and valet and all that, and I can tell you those are way more than $5,000. So that's option number one. The second option is what's called a personal care home. Many folks have never heard of a personal care home. You do have to be careful when you're choosing a personal care home that'll be the right fit for your loved one. And later on, we'll talk about some tips on how to choose the right personal care home. But a personal care home is essentially an assisted living facility in a residential setting. So it's an assisted living facility that's inside someone's a home. And inside that home, residents stay there. They some have private rooms, some have shared rooms, and they provide all of the same things that the traditional apartment setup assisted living facilities provide: transportation, around the clock staff, meals, activities, making sure that all their medical needs have been met. If they need therapy, they're making sure that they get their therapy and things like that. So you may be thinking, okay, well, we have these two options. Why would someone choose one over the other? I'll tell you, usually it's cost. So for a personal care home, they do tend to be less expensive. On average, the cost range from $1,000 to $3,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. What dictates that is the services that your loved one may need, their health condition, and how much care that they may need, and honestly, just the type of personal care home that you choose, the level of care that they offer, the amenities and the services that they offer. For those that offer more, obviously there'll be more money, but oftentimes personal care homes are less expensive than the traditional assisted living facilities. Now, for both the assisted living facilities and the personal care homes, neither of them accept that red, white, and blue card Medicare. Medicare does not pay for having a provider come into the home. Medicare doesn't pay for assisted living. Their red, white, and blue card, Medicare doesn't pay for a personal care home. That is because Medicare does not pay for long term care services. These are all considered long term care services. So if you find that you or your loved one may need some of these services, you have to be prepared to pay for it yourself. You have to either have some strategy in place, and there are many strategies that so many folks don't know exist that make so much sense that you can use to help pay for this care so you don't bankrupt yourself or your family doesn't bankrupt themselves, because usually when folks need this care, they first go to their savings account, right? Then after they've gone through their savings account, they go to their retirement accounts, right? And if there's a spouse left over, usually now for the spouse that may be surviving after maybe the spouse that needed that care, maybe they've passed, and all the money that had been saved and invested that was supposed to be here for their retirement has been exhausted, and now the existing spouse is left with nothing, maybe just social security. So, long-term care insurance does also pay for assisted living facilities and to have a provider come into the home. Even if someone has already been diagnosed and they want to look into different strategies that may be available, they may be turned away a lot, but there are strategies that are available for those that are diagnosed. So, you guys, this is all the information I want to leave you with. I don't want to keep you on too long. When we upload our next episode, we're going to continue to talk about different levels of care and different ways that your loved ones can receive care as their health may begin to decline or as they have different types of healthcare needs, and how these different types of healthcare needs can be paid for, if you can use Medicare, if you can use Medicaid to pay for these healthcare needs. So until next time.